And welcome back to Mastering Sales. I'm Brent Gove. And today we have a special guest. We're kicking off our summer series with Verl Workman. He's going to rock and roll this thing. If you're there, start texting people and tell them to get on this right now. Wherever you are, tell them to jump on Zoom with Brent.live. It's going to be amazing. We're going to build this up to where we have 200, 300, 400 people on here on Tuesdays. Verl, don't you worry. It's going to happen. His time is valuable. And the cool thing is you want to get your agents in production because they're good for FOQAs. And we want them to make money. And that's what creates this revenue share program we're all doing. But this is really about taking your sales to the next level. So from sunny Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, I turn it over to the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Verl Workman, my dear friend. Love you, buddy. By the way, you're looking so healthy, vibrant, and good. So rock and roll. The floor is yours.
Thanks, Brent. And Coeur d'Alene, what a beautiful place, man. You're real close to me. I'm in Salt Lake City, Utah. And so,
be in Salt Lake Friday. That's right. We're gonna hook up. I'm gonna. I think we're having breakfast or dinner or something. I forgot. I'll reach out to you. By the way, Tony Robbins is pulling up. I heard him like literally seconds from that dock behind me. I'm gonna spend the afternoon with Tony live in person with 25 of us. But the floor is yours. Have at it, baby. And I'll see you this Friday in Salt Lake.
Have a great time, and thanks for having me. So I'm excited to be here. First, I want to just say welcome, everybody. And this is going to be a fun series. We're going to go through, and I want to give you a little bit of introduction, a little background on who I am and what we do. So I own a company. I'm the CEO of a company called Workman Success Systems, and we specifically focus on high-performing teams. I'm a believer that greatness is predictable, and so is average. And many of the high performers inside of EXP and around the world are coached by Workman Success coaches and clients. And you'll recognize many of our leaders inside the organization. And Brent reached out to me and he said, Verl, I really want to focus my energy and attention on helping them build their organizations. And I need somebody that has a high level of expertise that will help them on the production side of the business. He says, because I've been out of production for so long and you're just focused on production, maybe that's something we could do together. And so he invited me to come in and do these Monday Sales Mastery call, or what's today? Tuesday Sales Mastery calls with you and focus on how do we put money in the bank right now while we're building our organizations. I like to say that we need to get our houses in order so we can build our organizations. And when our house is in order and it creates cash flow, it allows us to focus on the things that create massive growth and worldwide organizations. But when we don't have our house in order, and I'll also tell you that I think that the greatest attractor is success. Talking about what you're going to do someday is not as attractive as what you're doing right now. And when you have signs in yards and your people are making money, it becomes an attraction magnet. And so what our goal is to help you think bigger and think more strategically and create leverage in your business and your life. And that's what we're going to do. And so on these calls, I'm going to come in wherever I am. I'm going to jump on. I'm going to share with you tactical things that we're working on. I'm also going to give you access to, we call it the Workman Insider, which is kind of behind the scenes tools and resources that we're using with our high performing clients and teams. And so I'll give you a link here a little bit later today and in the message box where you can just opt in. It's free. It's not something I'm going to charge you for, but we're going to have different resources and tools and systems. The first thing I want to talk about today is I want to understand who you are and where you want to go. So how many of you believe that there is another level that you could be performing at in your real estate business? Like, honestly, do you really believe there's another level? Okay, tell me what that looks like. So go in the chat box for me really quick and just tell me what you've set as a production goal. Give me some production goals. I want to see your goals in here. And then I'm going to show you how we blow away those goals and then reverse engineer to something that is completely out of your realm of possibility and completely uncomfortable. If I don't make you uncomfortable, then I'm probably the wrong coach. I'm probably the wrong voice to listen to. I want you to be a little bit uncomfortable. So let's have a look. Okay, I love that. 30 units in 2025. Go into your boxes. Let's put them in here. Melody, thanks for putting that in there. I love that. Give me some more goals. Give me some units. I want to become an icon. Okay, so Mark, I want you to tell me what that means in units to you or what that means in sales. 50 in the next 12 months. I love that. 100 million in sales. Jared, I love that. Great. Now I'm going to give you an opportunity to kind of push yourself a little bit more. Jared, 100 million. I think that's a good number, right? That's like 3 million in GCI and gross closed income. And then 100 million, whatever your number is, I want you to think about this concept. One of the things you're going to learn about me is I'm going to give you a bunch of Verlisms. The first one is this: we lead with revenue, not expense. And so our goal is to look at your business, identify where the money gaps are, and fill those first. We're going to lead with revenue. We get up every day and we say, where's the money and how do I put myself in the middle of it? Another Verlism I want you to keep in mind is this one: is anything you do 3 times in your business, I want to create a system for it. Systems for everything. Because when Jared's doing 100 million, what happens is that if you're not automated and you don't have systems for everything, everything breaks in your business and your level of client care goes down. So at 100 million, I want Jared to be working less than he is at 20 million or 10 million. And so as you build, grow, and you create scale, what happens is you learn how to use technology and systems and humans to build leverage. And that's what our expertise is. We build teams. We build teams and we build high performing teams better than anybody else in the world. Okay, listen, I need some more goals in here. I got 3 goals in here. I've got 50, 100 million, 30 units. Anybody else want to make some money this year? Or is it just these 3? Like, seriously, there you go. 100 apartment doors. You want to own some apartment doors. That's another great goal. Jared, work backwards as you're doing your doors. I love the investment side of the business because that's where wealth is built. And I think that if you look out there in the world, you say, where do people that have a lot of money keep their money? Most of them keep it in real estate. They either made or keep their money in real estate. And so if you're your own best client, that changes the way you look at the business. And so when you look at your doors, I look at doors as income per door. And I go backwards from a number and say, how many doors do I need to hit the income number that I want? And they could be residential, commercial, multifamily. It doesn't matter. I just want to know what that looks like. So $100,000 a month per door. Okay, so I love that Jared's being interactive with me now. I'm going to share with you something. How many of you have been trained on this concept? I'm going to share my screen with you. Let me see which screen shares when I hit my, okay, great. All right, so let me share my screen with you and you're going to have a little bit of fun with this. Desktop 3. How many of you have heard of this concept? SMART goals. How many of you heard of SMART goals? Have you set SMART goals in the past? I'm going to tell you that I think SMART goals are stupid and that I don't ever want to set another SMART goal. I'm going to share with you why I think they're not very smart. First of all, I want you to think about anybody that you know in your life or that you've watched achieve something amazing, and they did it by setting a realistic and attainable goal. Think about that. So the whole concept of specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely, that concept of attainable and realistic basically is designed by sandbaggers who have jobs, who don't want to be held accountable for high performance the next quarter. And so they set attainable and realistic goals so that they don't have to push themselves out of their comfort zone and lose their job. I don't think SMART goals are smart for anybody who wants to do something amazing. I think of all of the people who have done amazing things that I know of in my life, and none of them set realistic and attainable goals. I look at people like Michael Phelps. I'm going to give you a new acronym. We're going to set stupid goals. How does that sound? I'm all about not setting SMART goals. Let's set some stupid goals. And here's what a stupid goal looks like to me. And when I say stupid goals, I mean, when you say it, I want you to be uncomfortable with it and actually feel like you'd be embarrassed to say it in front of somebody else. Does anybody want to hit some stupid goals, like crazy stupid goals? Who's in? I need some energy around this group. I see those of you on camera. All right, Jared's already thrown some great ones out there, and they're not stupid to him, and he doesn't care what anybody says about him. He's just going to figure out how to reverse engineer and hit it. When I look at somebody like Michael Phelps, they're strategic, they're transformational, completely unrealistic, they're purpose-driven, they're innovative, and they're dynamic. That's what stupid goals are. They're transformational, unrealistic goals. And you can't get there by doing the same things that got you where you are today. I sat in a conference recently with the guy who wrote 10X, talks about 10X is better than 2X, and how you go from 2 times your business to 10 times your business. And he made us go through this. He took us through kind of an emotional, I'll call it a workshop, where he said, okay, put your stupid goal out there. And you say, okay, so if I wanted to do 100 million in sales, and it's my 5-year plan, he says, what if you had to do it in 12 months? How would you work differently? Because you can't do the same things you're doing right now to hit that crazy goal in 12 months. And then he said, what if you have to do it in 6 months? How would you work differently? We have to break everything. You'd have to create leverage. You'd have to think about lead gen. And he says, now let me add one more question. He said, what if you had to do it in 6 months and one of your children's lives depended on it? How would you work differently? How would you show up every day? Now, is there any way, Tom, that you fail if one of your kids' life depends on it? He says that's how we hit stupid goals is we have to work like our lives depend on it. And we get up every day and we do the minimum we have to do to get paid, but we don't have the urgency and we don't get up and we don't innovate and figure out how to bring in our relationships and actually put things together that allow us to achieve these stupid goals. Did you know that Michael Phelps, let me give you some stats on Phelps. His first major goal, he wanted to break a record when he was 15. And so his first major goal was 10 years old. Sorry. He started swimming competitively at 10. He had already set a national record in his age group. As he progressed, his goals became more ambitious. One of his early long-term goals was to make the Olympic team at 15 years old and then set a new world record in the 200-meter butterfly. 15. Do you know how unrealistic that is? Let me tell you how unrealistic it is. Here's some really interesting things. You're more likely to be struck by lightning twice than to make a U.S. Olympic swim team at 15. You have a better chance of randomly picking a four-leaf clover on your first try than qualifying for the Olympics at 15. Your odds of getting accepted into Harvard, MIT, and NASA's astronaut program all at the same time is more likely than making the Olympic team at 15. Like everybody told him it's not going to happen. You have a better chance of getting a hole-in-one on a par 5 with a putter than qualifying for the Olympic team at 15. And you're more likely to successfully sneak into Area 51 and get away with it than actually qualifying for the Olympics at 15. It's nuts. Here's some other things. Now, when he set his goals, he said, I want to win 8 gold medals in a single Olympics. Think about that. Like no one's ever done that before. You have a better chance of randomly, I told you all these. He said, now here's his goals. He set a goal to win 8 gold medals in a single Olympics. 7 was Mark Spitz's record in 1972. So how unlikely? It's like a basketball playing getting an average of 100 points a game for the entire season. Does that ever happen in the NBA? Nope. A soccer player scoring a hat trick in 8 straight World Cup finals. Like even getting into the World Cup final 8 times in a row has never happened before. A soccer player and then a golf winning 4 majors. When I think about that, I think about unrealistic and stupid goals. And I think about Michael Phelps thinking about, okay, how do I get there? What he does and what all these great people do is I had an opportunity a few years ago. I'm going to stop my share just for a minute. If I can get my mouse to get over there. I had the opportunity to work with a group called, well, they were US Olympians, and it was called USA Olympians. The guy's name is John Neighbor, and he writes a book called Awaken the Olympian Within. And he goes and he does deep research on all these Olympians when they win their gold medals. And then he republishes the book every 2 years. And so it's always got all the cutting edge. My kids think, I read, these are their bedtime stories. So I have 6 kids and 11 grandkids, and this is what I share with them. We do stupid goals. Then we share the stories of average people doing amazing things. John Neighbor, who's the president of US Olympians, he's the one that writes these books. He won 7 medals the same year Mark Spitz won 8, and Mark's were 7 gold medals. So Mark Spitz got all the attention. John Neighbor is a massively successful Olympian. And he said what he did is at 10 years old, he calculated the average speed of swimmers and how fast they were growing every single year. And then he wrote on his mirror with his mother's lipstick how fast he'd have to be swimming when he made it to the Olympics. And within 1/100th of that second, he reversed engineered what he would have to do to be able to break that record. And that's when he won his first gold medal, within 1/100th of a second of the time he figured out. Achieving stupid goals is a direct result of putting it out there and then reverse engineering on what it's going to take to get there. And it's absolutely possible when you start reverse engineering. So now I want you to go think about your goals for just a minute. And I want you to think about if you were to set a stupid goal, what would that look like? I'd love to hear and see some stupid goals. I set a goal. I used to weigh 400 pounds. I just broke 200. I just got down to 198. I've lost over 200 pounds over the last 20 years. I'm like mini me. I get up. I went for a mountain bike ride yesterday, like literally. Now, it was an e-bike, but I still got on it and I went up a hill. I'm doing things at 60 that I couldn't do at 50 and I couldn't do at 40 because I was 400 pounds at 40. And I set stupid goals, and slowly, and with the advancement of technology and all of these things, we've had these amazing accomplishments. I know I'm half the man I used to be. Isn't that cool? My wife reached over and put her arm around me the other night in bed, and she put her hand on my rib, and she says, "What's that?" I said, "It's my rib." She says, I don't think I've ever seen that. Like, that's my rib. We can find it. Setting stupid goals. Let me see some stupid goals. Come in the chat box, and I want everybody to proclaim and shout out and just give me a stupid goal. One thing that you want to do that is just uncomfortable. And then let's do something together over these next several weeks. I'm going to give you, every time we get on a call, a money-making activity, a system or a process, an idea or a technique that we're using to get high performance, and then you can just go for it. 100 units a year. The icon agent, I love that. 500 deals a year, 5,000 doors. There you go. Now you're putting some goals out there. Like, all it is a number. The only difference between average and exceptional has very little to do with the individual, but everything to do with the activities they focus on in their day. And if you get really clear on where it is you want to go, we can reverse engineer what has to happen to get you there. I don't care if it's 500 doors or 5,000 doors. I don't care what the number is. What does that mean, and how do we get there? I'm coaching a guy that has 100 doors and he wants to go to 1,000 doors. He owns 100 doors. He wants to go to 1,000. And so he's going to get there one at a time, or we can start buying other people's doors. And that's the whole process right now we're going through, is acquiring small investors' portfolios to add to his portfolio of doors. It has a number. We have a formula figured out. And now we're going after it. So you can get there through acquisition. Mark, I love your 100 units a year. And so let's add to this. When you do your stupid goals from a production perspective, I also want you to think about your life. And so when I build businesses, I use a thing called a strategic plan. I'm going to give this all to you. When you opt into our Workman Insider, it's just free access to just this group. I'm going to give you behind the scenes content that you won't see on these calls. And then whenever I do one of these calls and I have a free resource, it'll be in the insiders. Like, everybody who opts in, I'll just send it to you via email, so you'll get it. We'll probably create a portal for you. So that's the program. In this, I want to give you a strategic plan where I'm going to ask you to tell me what you want your life to look like 5 years from now, 3 years from now, 1 year from now, and 6 months from now. So if you were to get with your significant other, your spouse, or whoever it is that you share your life with that's important to you, and say, what do we want our life to look like? And I'm not talking about income. I want to be traveling. I want to do mission trips. I want to give back to my community, whatever that is. What do you want your life to look like? Then I'm going to help you reverse engineer what we have to do financially in order to create that lifestyle. I want you to build a business that serves a lifestyle, not a business that becomes your life. Most people, most realtors especially, build businesses that their kids would never want to work for, because the way they do business is they're always on. They're always answering calls. They're never present in the lives of the people that matter to them. And I don't believe any other success can compensate for failure in the home. And you'll hear me talk about that a lot, because I think we should have balance with family, faith, friends, fun, fitness. And I throw food in there because I'm a bit of a foodie, so it's the 6 F's. And if you have balance in those areas, it has a massive impact on your finances. Does that make sense? So I'm giving you a lot. I just want to give you a lot to think about today, because this is where we start. We start by proclaiming our crazy goals. We work on a strategic plan that I'm going to give all of you access to. Your me give you a code really quick so you can get access to this. I'm just going to share my screen slide with you here. There you go. Now use your QR code. I'm also going to have my assistant Candace put it in the chat box. And so you can just click on the link, and all it is an opt-in. All you say is, I want to be on the insider. I want to get the resources Verl shares on these calls. And then when you show up on these calls, I'm going to give you what to do, how to do it. I'll share with you. Sometimes I'll have a tool or resource, sometimes I won't, but there's going to be a lot of content that I share. And if I share, like on the next call, I'm going to be doing a call from my family vacation in Lake Powell. and I'm going to be up the lake on a houseboat, and I'm going to share with you one of the most impactful tools we use in everything we do at Workman. And it's called the Daily Success Habits Tracker. And I'm going to share with you how to get 61 points a day focused on money-making activities. And you can use it yourself, you can use it with your teams, and you can use it with people in your organizations. And when you start measuring and tracking the things that matter, then we can then coach to the gaps. All right, I'm going to stop my share. Does everybody have that? Did you put that in there? Okay, let me take the last couple seconds really quick because we're going to have to wrap up here in a minute and see if anybody has any questions for me. Get ready for next week's call. I'm going to do as many of these as I can every single week, and it's just going to be about production. It's going to be how to hit those stupid goals. I'll show you how to reverse engineer. I'm also going to show you how to build high-performing seven-figure teams. How much do we pay our listing partners, buyers agents, administrative assistants, how to have systems for every area of your business. If you have a question or an urgent business need or something you want to have help with, bring it on the call, put it up on the screen, put it in the chat, and I'll have that prepared next time we get on a call. The insiders, I'll be sending you out like surveys and asking you questions of things you'd like to focus on so that we address the specific needs of the group. Here's what I'm hearing from the market right now. If I don't see any questions come in, we'll wrap up here in a minute, is people are fatigued. They are burnt out. They don't want to go through what they went through in 2008 again. So I'm hearing the more experienced agents saying that I just don't want to do this again. I just want to sell some houses. I don't want to have to rebuild. I'm seeing team leaders that are frustrated because their team members aren't performing and they're having to go back into production. And so all of those emotions and all of those feelings are real. But I also have people in markets that are down 40% where our teams are up 40% and they're doing 4, 5, and 6 million in GCI. So in a market that's down, a lot of agents are mimicking the market, meaning their behavior and their activity is consistent with happening in the marketplace. I say that we create our own opportunities. And when everybody else is pulling back and pausing and waiting for the market to change, we're going to lean in and take their market share. And so if you want to go and you want to have a business that actually serves your lifestyle and you want to make sure that you set the example of how to produce so everybody in your organization understands that if no money changes hand, nobody grows. We want everybody to succeed. This is the place you want to be. So I am ready. I'm excited. I'm going to be on these calls every Monday. Thanks for being here, everybody. Share the word. Let's see if we can pack these. Let's get some people on these calls and we'll have some fun together. Nice to meet you all. And thanks for your interaction. I'll see you guys all next Monday.
Thanks, Verl.
You betcha. Bye, everybody.